Ooh. Ooh, already I like this loading screen. Ahoy there, mateys. Hope you're all doing well today. I'm having a good time because today happens to be my 21st birthday. Excuse me, that was a little bit louder than I thought it would be. And I just celebrated by going down to the liquor store and buying myself Well-Being's Hellraiser Dark Amber non-alcoholic brew. I absolutely bought this just because it was called Hellraiser, so now I'm going to enjoy it. I've never had a red beer, actually. It's really foaming. I'm gonna need to give that a second to simmer down. So anyhow, I'll get onto the game now. This is Darkness Within, in pursuit of Loath Nolder. As always, I know very little about this game, but I recently saw a recommendation for it saying that it was very similar to Scratches, and if you've been around the block on this channel, then you know that Scratches was a point-and-click horror mystery game that I adored. I love Scratches so much. That game was such a fun playthrough. So I'm gonna give this a whirl. I've just been meaning to play this game for a while. The Siberia playthrough will continue as a stream, probably once a week, because the game is way too long for me to continue making 2.5-hour Let's Plays of it. And without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and try to jump into this. Let's go. We got difficulties. Okay, let's see what these do. Standard, suited for casual gamers. Nope, that's not me. Suitable for standard adventure gamers. Hints will be available after a moderate time of being stuck. Hints. Senior detective for hardcore adventure gamers. No hints will be available. Manual document researching. I'm thinking I'm a senior detective. I'm thinking I've played a Nancy Drew game once or twice in my life. Please stop foaming up. I'm begging you.
Men of broader intellect know that there is no sharp distinction betwixt the real and the unreal.
Let's fucking go, Howard Phillips! That's interesting. Wellsmoth Mental
They say
Institution.
that I am mad. They said that two locals found me in the morning, 7 miles from the town of Windlaps. I was laughing and muttering meaningless gibberish to myself. I was cursing and arguing with myself. A raving madman with burning eyes, lost in the dark depths of his own merciful delirium. They say that I had been searching for a particular grave in the local cemeteries. They were right. If you knew whose grave it was, you would understand. So my behavior, which seemed abnormal, had nothing to do with madness. You must understand that. If you knew what had happened to me, then you would, I promise, also understand the reasons for my behavior. It all started on that cold November day. That was when I was given the case of the fugitive suspect, Loath Nolder, a man whose intelligence I greatly admired. He had returned after 5 years of traveling to bizarre locations and had become the primary murder suspect in the first case he took on.
What?
It was Loath Nolder who left Wellsmouth those 5 years ago, but was he the same man who returned?
Are we a detective going after another detective?
This I will leave to the judgment of the readers of these notes. They tell me that I've been here in the Wellsmouth Mental Institution
Amber
for 2
beer is
weeks
not
now.
what I hoped it would taste like.
Is it really that long? I cannot say. I do not remember the first 8 days. The doctors tell me I am making progress. I think they are lying. It takes me longer every day to remember where I am, even who I am, after I wake up from the dreams. That is why it is essential to keep these notes as I struggle to convince myself that I am really mad. Because before the night that I was found, I looked into the deepest wells of madness more than any man alive. Yes, I am definitely mad. I must be. Because everything I have seen, I have seen through the eyes of insanity's omnipresent soul.
Okay. If I didn't mention it, this is a very Lovecraft-inspired game. And I was told it was just Lovecraft-influenced when I first decided to play it. Oh shit, it's just like Scratches, look at that! Oh, this is gonna be freaky. There is no handle to open this door. Oh. Yeah, he's not lying. Yeah, I also absolutely love H.P. Lovecraft. Not to be a complete fucking idiot, but he's probably my favorite author. I very much enjoy his spooky writing. Is this door opening? Emptiness. Am I looking through a crack in the door? It's kind of hard to tell. I feel like there's something in the darkness and I'm being pulled towards it. I'll pass on that. The game seems very well produced so far. Color me impressed. I can't open this door, there's no handle on it. Do any of these doors have handles? No, they don't seem to. Let me click some buttons real quick. See if I have like an inventory or something. Right click doesn't do anything but make a weird noise. Okay. There must be more I have to see. Guess not. Weird shit on the walls. Strange graffiti. Yes. That is the extent of what I took away from that sentence. Hey, that door opened that time. Is this a cutscene? I think it's a cutscene. What a beautiful room. Reminds me of somewhere. This is beautiful? Oh, Yeah, the room's not so beautiful anymore. Who is that? Is my brightness low on my monitor? It's halfway. I'm locked in a room with a dead body? What is going on? Okay, it was a nightmare.
Another nightmare. What's going on with these dreams I've been having lately? So vivid. Almost as if they were real.
That might be the new channel record for fastest it's ever taken for a game to make me jump. Okay, hold on. We have a cell phone, so this must be like at least late 90s, early 2000s. It probably took place when it came out. Okay, this is my inventory. Wait, how do I answer it? Okay, right-click on in my inventory. My name's Arthur! Wait, no,
Yes,
it's not. This guy's name is Arthur. I'm stupid.
At last. Where were you? I've been trying to contact you for
That's not how caller ID works. It doesn't just tell you what your name is.
Loath Nolder escaped from the hospital last night. I've been calling you for hours with the news.
Strange. I never heard the phone.
Check your answering machine. I left several messages.
Anyway, what happened with Loath?
No one knows. It's like he just vanished out of the place overnight.
Okay, I'm on my way in now.
Howard, are you feeling alright?
My name's Howard!
Just a little tired, Arthur.
Let's go!
I slept last night. Nothing to worry about.
Okay. I'll see you soon.
Man, you gotta hate your kid to name him Loath. Although I guess that was kind of the idea. Howard's Mind? To read clues, click Howard's Mind button on the inventory panel. Then click on the clue to read. Whoa, this shit is thorough. Arthur told me that Loath Nolder, who is the main murder suspect of the Clark Field case, escaped from the hospital last night. This case is very important for me because I admire his intelligence. I feel that this will be a real challenge. I can't say that his escape worries me. Huh. This is looking like a very sophisticated detective game. Day 1, the beginning, November 5th, 2011. Okay, so it is 2011, which I think is when this game came out. It's a good-looking game for then. One of the paintings by the young and infamous painter Harry Wilcox. Last year he died in a tragic car accident. I used to say that he had a bright future ahead of him. Captions move a little fast. I nightmare, just an adhesive drip, to drop into the nightmare where you ceaselessly slip. The painting always reminds me of that poem. Nope, can't say I've ever heard that. Okay, we have a mystery to investigate. I'm not going to spend forever just looking around my apartment. The Rubaiyat! Hey! Titanic throwback. I missed that game. That game was delightfully silly. I'm sure that the case is going to follow us home in some way if they went to the trouble of rendering this much of our apartment. Where's this, a house? Car key? Or house key? My car keys. Cool. Off I pop. Oh, wait, so this is my house? I live here? What a shitty apartment, with all due respect. Did I miss something else in here? Voicemail, maybe?
No new messages.
Nope. That's odd. Didn't Arthur say that he left messages for me? I better call him and ask him about this. That is interesting. Something's up with my answering machine. I and my nightmares. Oh look, it's the poem he was just talking about. Ha! Edwin Pickman. I'll make the assumption that none of this poetry is essential to complete the game, but it's pretty cool that they included it. I heard a voice or a deep gentle noise that filled wicked lies with might. Within stone bed the numbly dead can stay away from light. It was a phrase that was told in days of olden shadowed times. In dormant state said the dead can wait for the time he is to rise. Neat. Anyways, welcome back to my Poetry Slam channel. Today we're going to try to figure out how to leave my apartment. Oh, that's the way out. There's a bend in the hallway. Well, that took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to find. This office has been mine since I was promoted to police detective. Neat loading screens.
Wellsmouth. Never much happening here. Just run-of-the-mill cases and paperwork to catch up on. That's my normal working day. But not with this case. I've got to admit, it's been good to be dealing with something a little out of the ordinary for once. These are investigation pictures taken at Loath Nolder's office. There was nothing there when we first searched the place. I have examined the place several times since then, but couldn't find any clues. That office is the only property Nolder owns. He even sold his house to help pay for his strange travels around the world. So why didn't he sell his office as well? I think I'd better take these pictures with me. Maybe there's something here we're not seeing.
So, this guy, Loath Nolder, was investigating the murder of some guy named Clark Field. Then he disappeared for 5 years, I think? Oh wow, we can look at all these different pictures. He disappeared for 5 years, and then I guess he came back and is for some reason now the chief suspect. It's a nice office. Oh, is there something on the back of one of these? Probably not. That wouldn't make sense since we took the pictures. Nice UI, though. I enjoyed this UI. Register of Deaths. Oh, Clark Field. He's the guy who was allegedly murdered. Let's read up on this instance. He was born in Portside, 1976. That places him around 40s or something at the time of death. Date of death. Place of death was Northwood Forest. He was there for 4 days. Buried in the Portland Cemetery on October 27th. Certificate cause of death. Suffocation. The coroner's name is Morris Digger. That is the most cartoonish coroner name I've ever heard of. Good job with that. And then here's the homicide report. Offense reported as crime, murder. Report made by M. Yilmaz. Coroner notified. Lawrence Gelswood. Known, suspected, or possible motives, Loath Nolder. No one's told me why we think that this guy is, why we think he could be... Oh, wait, hold up. It says right here. This is more detail. The deceased was found on the borders of the Northwood Forest about 85 miles north of Wellsmouth, the town center. An ID was found on him, and for identification, his brother Jonathan Field was summoned. He identified the deceased and added that he had been missing for some time. He explained that he hadn't reported this to the police, since he had received a packet with a letter which told him not to do so. He said that he had hired a private detective, Loath Nolder, to find his brother and had given him the aforementioned packet. So he had hired this detective. So the detective instructed the brother to not bring up his brother's disappearance. And then the brothers found dead. And we are Howard Larade, or however our name is said. Alright, I can see why that would make this private detective suspicious, especially since he skipped town right after. Ooh. Okay, so this is navigation. There's the forest. There's our office. Alright, guess we're going to Loath Nolder's office. I like this little driving screen. This is a cool game. I'm enjoying myself. Loath Nolder's office. Nothing was found during the police investigation because every record had been strangely effaced. The office has a hushed, expectant air, as though it is hiding secrets and has been waiting 5 years for Loath Nolder's return. Yep, this is the place we took pictures of.
There wasn't this much mess the last time I was here. It's been sealed for police investigation, but someone's been in here. Who was it? And why?
Professor
There's
Hyde
nothing
White.
important here. It's almost empty.
There goes that loud-ass music again. Fuck it, I'm gonna turn it down again. We love it when a game developer just says, here's the sliders, mix the sound yourself. Can I up the brightness too? So we're on default, but the game is very grainy and shadowy, so for your guys' sake, I will bump it up to medium. There, that's already much easier to do investigating. Earthquake hit Brankston just after 3 a.m. Newspaper from 2006, which is when he went missing. 137 people injured, 18 people killed. By chance, Thomas Coach, one of the reporters for the local newspaper, was at the town center. He told us about the moment the quake occurred. It was a shocking moment. Every building was shaken. People started to scream, blah, blah, blah. The quake was felt strongly in the downtown of Wellsmouth, too. Nobody died, but 59 people were injured in the panic caused by the quake. Most of the people spent the night out in their cars or in the parks. Officials warned people not to stay in the damaged houses and to be ready for possible aftershocks. None of the buildings in Wellsmouth collapsed but further. Call me crazy, but I'm suspecting that wasn't actually an earthquake. We will see. The style of these paintings is not typical of those on display in your average office. Yeah, it looks like the freaky shit that you keep in your own house, Howard. Who are you to talk? Alright. Here's what we ought to be doing. We took pictures of this place before we came here. Maybe something in the pictures has changed. We'll start with this one. Have a look at the desk. So, I'll look down at this desk, in the back of this picture. Can I hold it up to it? No. Okay, that's alright. I don't need to. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. No, that's the same as it was. Clearly someone has been here. What did he say? Did he just try to say something? Shit, I'm clicking too fast. Nothing out of the ordinary. Something is different about this picture. What's changed? What has changed? Is it the shadow? The painting? Has the painting been moved? Someone moved this painting, yeah. The scene has been sealed by the police. Who could have been here? Let's see the back of it. Something hidden in the painting. Need something to open it with. My car keys, maybe? Need to try something else. Well, shit, man. I don't know. Is your fingernails sharp enough? Maybe the game wants me to find something at another location? I'll have a look around here. It's possible that there's like a letter opener or something. Wellsmouth Myths and Legends of an Ancient Town. This book is about the folk myths of Wellsmith. I vaguely remember my grandfather telling me some of them. This game's making me read so fast that I keep on mumbling and slurring my words. I'm gonna have to get better at that. Man, this is only 2 pages. I'll read it. I want to know some local legends. Preface. This work has been prepared in order to collect the folk myths of the town Wellsmith into one coherent source. As is generally known, Wellsmith is a settlement that was built during medieval times, precise dates are not known, and due to the high mountains surrounding it, always lived apart from the other settlements. For this reason, ethnologists are drawn to investigate the history of such an insular region. Investigating and compiling the folk myths of an area such as Wellsmith, I'm just going to say Wellsmith, even though it looks like Wellsmoth, creates a rich ethnological body of knowledge which can provide information about the surrounding region. P.S. I want to thank my friend Alfonso Gray, who worked with me on some parts of this book. Amateur ethnologist, Sean Bridge. And then there's just really one entry in the book. Iather's Curse. Iather's Curse myth may be one of the oldest myths of the region. Although controversy surrounds its origins, the generally accepted version goes back to ancient times. The natural phenomenon which occurs every year at particular times on the Northwood Mountain cannot be explained completely even today. Well, that was an interesting read. Oh my. A list of symbols. I have no idea what they are used for. This looks like a pretty serious cipher right here. I think I'm just going to cut out that reading. There wasn't anything terribly important in it. It was just to talk about the Yathers, which was a local folk group who hung around this town way back when. Oh, it's a train. Sorry, that kind of spooked me. There was a strange group who used to live around here. A letter opener. I was right. Anyhow, sorry, I'm getting so distracted. There was a group called the Yathers. They hung around here hundreds and hundreds of years ago, but were absolutely disgusting for undescript reasons. And so the people all shooed them away, and they were apparently like devil worshippers and weird Innsmouth people. And they were just apparently put a curse on this place called the Yather's Curse, or something like that. What's in the painting? An envelope I found in the painting's frame. I think it was put there after the police investigation. Well, let's have a look at it. You know, I got something for opening letters like this. Oh, combination slots? Okay, hold up. So would I do this and that? There, okay, so that's how you do it. You add items to the combination slot bar, of which there are 6 slots. Yikes. Ooh, there's a lot of stuff in this letter. That looks like a good long read. Was this in the envelope? To research the letter you found, right-click on the letter in the inventory panel. Hold up. We're going to be doing a lot of reading here, it looks like. First, let's start with the letter. Jonathan, you know that I like to stick to the point. I'm writing this note to you because I know that shortly, something bad is going to happen to me. For about 4 months now, we haven't seen each other, and I didn't reveal my location because I knew that as long as I was looking after the company and keeping things in order, you wouldn't worry about me. I will speak plainly. I know that you don't like me, and the feeling is mutual, but this is not the time for such matters. Alright, so we hate each other. About 1 year ago, I bought a house in the old northern quarter, and I was living there during the gradually increasing time periods when we didn't speak to each other. True to my nature, mysteries of olden times always attracted me much more than anything else. And you also know that I never wanted to mention my present situation, neither to you nor to anyone else. In fact, up until 2 months ago, I never even considered such a thing. And now, despite the inconceivable nature of the situation that I am in, I can hardly suppress my feeling of reluctance. You can call this a sort of childish jealousy, but I don't care. Right now, it is impossible to tell you what has happened. If you wonder, you could acquire a little information from my notes, which I have included in this package. There is just one thing I want from you. Do not go there. And sell it any way you can. Do this both for you and for our family's honor. And don't go to the police regarding this affair. Don't go whatever happens. You can find the address below. We will not meet again. Take care, Clark. Address is the North End Street, number 43 Northwood. Huh. Look at that. Underlining specific words or sentences in a document may give Howard some clues. Are you serious? How do I do that? Underline Clark on the letter by left-clicking and dragging the pen. Dude, no way. Click on the read/think button to make Howard think about the underlined passage. What a fucking thorough game! At the end of the letter, Clark is written, and it's written to Jonathan, his brother. We heard about this. These are the notes that Jonathan mentioned in his statement. You guys, I don't think I've ever played a detective game that's tried to be so nitty-gritty and thorough like this. All documents are researched in this manner. Oh, what did it say? Alternatively, in standard difficulty mode, you can make Howard research the visible pages and find the clues automatically. Nah, that's for lightweights. That's for people who don't even drink Dark Amber Hellraiser beer and enjoy it. I love it. That's very interesting. Can I underline anything else? What do you think about the name Jonathan, huh? Jonathan Field. Clark Field's younger brother. Alright, let's underline the address. Where's this place? There's an address here, but of what? It's the house, isn't it? He bought a house. Old Northern Quarter. Interesting. Mr. Field secretly bought a house. Okay, look at that. See, that one stayed highlighted because it was important. So the game, I'm guessing it's optional to find everything important in here. Clark Field warned his brother not to go to the police. That is a very sus thing to do. Warning about the police, that's a clue. He told him to sell it, too. Really? I thought the sell was interesting. So he bought a house and he didn't want the police to know about it. And I'm assuming that's the letter that was put here. This is a house key. That's definitely the key to the house. Clark Field's notes, which he wrote prior to his death, part 1 out of 4. Alright, you know the drill. I'm gonna read these damn notes. I'm gonna solve this damn mystery. I'm pumped now. So just 1 second. I'm gonna put on my best reading voice. We're gonna get through probably like 10 pages of writing. If you have no patience, then I'll just skip to the end and summarize what I found. January 3rd, 2011. I decided to write these notes precisely 1 month after I bought this house, in which I have found myself lost in thought, adrift in its dim silence. I escaped the meaningless monotony of my life by listening to every creak, every sound the house makes. I may not write often, but I think that these notes are important. I found this house only by an astonishing coincidence. I had gotten lost in the snow-covered narrow streets of this part of the city while I was wandering. I felt in awe, as though I were adrift in some misty past. I awoke from my wonder and strove to find the way back. That is how I came to this house. Its majestic appearance attracted my attention. For some time, I had wanted a place to come to from time to time, to listen to this overlooked world of the past that no one knows and where no one wants to come. I found a barely legible metal plate on the half-ruined garden wall that showed the number of the house. It was covered with rust, probably as old as the house itself. Without hesitation, I recorded this number in my digital organizer, which I bought some time ago because of my increasing forgetfulness. When I inspected it from the outside, it was obvious that no one lived there at the time. I examined it in order to learn if the house was for sale or not, and I can't describe my feelings when I found the person who was selling it. Later, I talked to the vendor, and, with a happy smile on his face, I remember he said that he had never come here before the house had been left to his company because of a mortgage, and he wanted to sell it right away, but never thought this would happen. He didn't know anything more about the house, and in fact, I wouldn't have cared if he had. I bought it without hesitation. There is one point that I don't want to continue without mentioning. After I bought the house, I learned that it had another admirer who introduced himself as Ivar Bergen, a Norwegian immigrant. Judging from his appearance, it was obvious that he was a wealthy person, and I remember that he said when we first met that he was also an aspiring owner, but it seemed that he was too late. Ivar Bergen. Let's underline that. That sounds important. Okay, so I can underline literally any document in here. This game wants me to pay attention. It's like I'm grading papers. This is 15 days later. This house is an old and real place beyond my imagination. I cannot stop thinking of what it would say if walls could talk. Some of the surrounding houses have been abandoned and shunned by people and are on the brink of collapse. A few of them even collapsed a long time ago. It makes me wonder as to the probability of restoration having been done fairly recently, since the house is still standing firm and strong. I am sure that this house is as old as the surrounding ones. Maybe the main reason for the bad reputation of this quarter is the different rumors that are often spread about some of the abandoned houses. These rumors recount how these houses have sometimes had bad owners, including some unknown foreigners. Some people in the town consider the crime rate to be high here, but that has not been my experience. The inhabitants of the neighborhood keep very much to themselves and don't socialize frequently, other than to gossip quietly amongst themselves. Next month, I've started to get to know Ivar Bergen and can say that our interests coincide almost completely. He visited me after our first meeting and we took the opportunity to talk at length. He managed to enchant me with his vast knowledge of mystic subjects. We talked the night away, discussing topics of mutual interest, and he told me about the things he experienced in some Eastern European countries and in India, and about his connections with some really esoteric and secret people and societies. He told me that he had read some books and tomes which were prohibited, or attempts had been made to try to destroy them a long time ago. I cannot describe the pleasure I had when he expressed his unbelievable theories about the background of most of the things which are assumed to be superstitions, with proofs cited from things he had read in some of the ancient sources. For a long time, I lived alone amongst ordinary people and cannot describe the empty feeling that I always felt within me. From now on, I think that I will not have such a problem anymore. In life, it is really hard to find someone who you can speak with, even within your own family. I told Ivar this from the bottom of my heart and encouraged him to visit me whenever he likes. March 3rd, 2011. Before tending to the outdoor areas, I decided to restore the interior of the house. To do this, I was assisted by the original blueprints. While I was checking the antique furniture last night in order to decide what to throw away, I found one carved wooden statue and a strange, well-like dig whose opening was carefully uncovered with a single piece of rusty metal plate and some wooden blocks. I had not checked this room before, since its key was not given to me with the others. I might have noticed this beforehand, but I didn't have much time to get the keys, being busy with company agreements, and the man from whom I bought this house was abroad traveling. Incidentally, there is another point that I can't continue without mentioning. That room, which oddly enough contains a well, has no electric wiring. It is really strange that in contrast, all the other rooms have electricity. So I had to light up the room with some lanterns, which I found amongst the old furniture of the house. I felt a slight cold draft coming from in the carefully covered well, and occasionally I heard some rattling sounds, but because I didn't have a strong enough flashlight, I couldn't examine the situation down below. I even threw a small few wooden blocks down, but I only heard sounds which made me think that the ground at the bottom is covered with mud. As soon as possible, I'm going to buy a stronger flashlight and try to examine down below. There isn't even the slightest clue regarding the reasons for digging such a well. Maybe it is the entrance to an underground room which was dug for the purpose of taking shelter during an extraordinary situation, such as war. I wanted to take a look down there, but the ladder at the side seemed too rusty and flimsy. I decided that trying it would be too dangerous, so I tried to find another way, but I couldn't find anything useful at that time. The carved wooden statue is a complete enigma. I have no idea what it depicts. Whenever I hold it, due to reasons that I can't comprehend, I feel that it is very ancient. It was carved smoothly from a species of tree that I don't recognize, and it contains a secret compartment. I think that I unintentionally did something because it opened by itself, or maybe it was already open. I'm not sure. There was nothing in the secret compartment. It was completely empty. Oddly enough, I felt that it had once stored something very precious. In addition, a beautiful yet subtle smell is dispersing from within the secret compartment. I cannot tell what it is, but maybe it's some type of incense. I want to underline some things here real quick. Come on, something's got to interest you. March 24th, 2011. I think I've really started to get used to the house. During the first weeks, although I even hid this room from myself, I felt like I wasn't going to get used to being here. I was jumping at every creak and cautiously listening to every sound. I kept waking up because of some excessively dense, strange smells whose source I couldn't identify, and then I wasn't able to get back to sleep again. Yes, this may sound childish, but this house has a genius lowkey that is really effective. That is a word I don't know. Lowkey, L-O-C-I. As if all the creaks which are heard within and all these musty smells are alien. Maybe some of the stories that I have heard from some of the local people have influenced my thinking. The importance of these stories, most of them being related to the old owners of the houses, seems too much for the local people. When they talk about these matters, a tone dominates their voices that is a mixture of awe and reverence, and as though they are afraid of being heard. They start to whisper. According to the stories, this quarter is one of the first settlements of the Wellsmith, and for this reason, the houses which are standing now are the reconstructed, or at least vastly restored versions of the old original ones. There was a special purpose for trying to keep some of the houses intact, and they are too tight-lipped about this purpose. They mention some connections in deep wells like the one I found in my house, but they refrain from describing the purpose of these. If I investigate further, I hope to learn more about these connections or deep wells. Come on, you gotta underline deep wells. You're throwing this right now if you don't. Dude. Oh, he actually knows what the word means. Genius lowkey, how about that? What did he say about it? A term meaning the special atmosphere of a place. In Roman mythology, it meant the protective spirit of a place and was often depicted as a snake. Interesting. April 21st, 2011. I have completed all the preparations for the restoration and hired a competent and experienced team. They will start working next week to change all the inner wooden planking and wallpaper. I hope that with these changes, I can stop all these musty and other unknown smells. I can't say that Ivar likes this restoration process. He asserted that such changes are going to destroy the original genus lowkey, and he argued with me on this for a long time. For some reason that I could not understand, I can't stop thinking that he was more angry than he let on. Yes, I know that he is really sensitive about such topics, but I can't change his opinions. I told him that this is going to be a restoration that is based on the original design. I am not going to change my mind about this. As soon as possible, I want to have the restoration process completed. Okay. Restoration. He was restoring the house. Okay, you're curious about the genus lowkey, but you aren't curious about the things he's doing to the house. Not even about freaking Ingmar Bergman, whatever his name is. Okay, so it looks like we don't call people in this game, they call us. How about my brain? Warning about the police. Clarkfield warned his brother not to go to the police regarding his situation, but why? Maybe the game wanted me to notice some more things. Let me get out my highlighter. Here's the address of Clarkfield's house. I had to underline the address. The key in the envelope must be the key to his house. I'd better go there to continue the investigation. Alright, Clarkfield's secret house. Let's go! Dude, this is just like Scratches. You would not believe the Scratches itch I've had lately. No pun intended. What a spooky old road. What a spooky one-way road. I would be terrified to drive around down a road that narrow. Mountainous terrain. This place welcomes one with a threatening sulk. You reach it by climbing through serpentine, shady, tunnel-like streets where the houses bulge and lean against each other, and the hostile natives peer out of the windows and doors furtively. There we go, I'm getting into my reading voice now. Oh yeah. The interior looks much different than the exterior would suggest. It looks so mysterious. I think I can find something here. Yeah, I'm thinking we're back. Something this game does that I'm very much a fan of is that it limits your hitbox so that you can't look up or low too far. It's actually a very restrained view. Look at that. And because of that, it makes it a lot easier to not get distracted. It is much colder than other parts of the house. Also, there are lots of moths in this room. Strange. Is this... I see a pickaxe. I don't want to go in there yet, actually. I think that's the room with the well in it. The strange room. Let's try and have a good look around the rest of this place first. Right side foyer, one of two doors is locked. The door is not locked, actually, but there's something behind it that's blocking it. Barricaded from the inside? Could be. Screwdriver? I guess I can't take it. Oh, this place is so Scooby-Doo. That door is locked. These are Mr. Field's notes. More pages. Part 2 out of 4 of his diary. Alright. You already know me, we're going right into this read. May 17th, 2011. For the past 2 weeks, I was out of town because of my job, and when I returned feeling tired, I learned that the restoration had not been completed due to the sounds that some of the workers suggested came from the cellar. This incident made me really angry, and I immediately obtained a strong flashlight in order to find out what those superstitious vagrants may have been afraid of. My purpose was, by using the old rusty ladder, to go down and just have a look down there. But it didn't matter how many steps down I took, the ground continued to be concealed in the claustrophobic pitch darkness of the well. A short time later, I noticed the opening of a horizontal tunnel. I entered the tunnel to check it. I don't know how long I stayed in there wondering why and when this worm-like burrow was dug, but when I decided to proceed, I felt that my legs were aching. After moving forward a short distance, I reached a wide chamber which was full of blood-curdling, strange statues. On its walls you could see signs and some erased and now to a great extent unreadable writings or wall paintings. The air was dominated by some kind of thick, decaying smell, which caused me to cough frequently. From the opening of the tunnel on the right and on the left walls of the chamber, there were some kind of statues which looked almost alive, so much so that just for a second I thought they would rise and start to walk, which I thought depicted saurian-headed creatures with the bodies of men. There was another figure which seemed to depict a ruler, similar to the hybrid statues on the walls, who was sitting on his throne and watching one of these creatures being sacrificed. The scene was depicted with such surrealism that no one could look at it without feeling a sense of terror. When I got close to the figure sitting on its throne, I noticed that some kind of smoke was leaking in from the gaps that were behind the concrete throne. In fact, this was not easily discerned, because if not for the wind which was blowing the smoke inside, I wouldn't have noticed it at all. I heard some sounds coming from behind those gaps which allowed me the wind and smoke to enter. The presence of these gaps made me believe that there may be other chambers below that one. If so, this could be an important archaeological discovery. I jumped with fright on hearing some noises that were certainly coming from beyond the tunnel in the depths of the pitch-black well. I immediately entered the tunnel, intent on locating the source of the noises. In spite of my strong flashlight, visibility was limited. Through weary eyes, it may have been a momentary illusion, or the enormously magnified shadow of a rat of being illuminated by my flashlight beam, but I saw, or I think I saw, something moving down there. I jumped with fright because of this, but only later would I realize the thing that shocked me and caused me to wake up from nightmares and listen to shivering to the sounds that came from beyond the darkness that, like a thick blanket, covered the places where merciful moonlight cannot reach. While I attempted to see something with my flashlight within the glutinous darkness, I heard a feeble voice that came from some faraway place calling out something like, "Come." The voice was very similar to that of Ivar's familiar, low-pitched voice. Through the effect of that shock, I threw my flashlight into the dense and dreary darkness, and with both hands free, I dashed to the cold, damp, and rusty metal ladder, which, at that time, seemed to me as though it was eons old. While I was climbing up and without daring to look down, I caused a piece of the ladder to be broken off, and it fell into the pitch darkness. Maybe because of the comforting feeling provided by this incident, I managed to reach the top and get out of that well. The next morning, when I woke up to my bedroom bathed in sunlight, I thought that all these events were just illusions, merely caused by excessive weariness and insomnia. I reached another conclusion. Maybe Ivar was right about the restoration. This sort of place has very important features invisible to the naked eye. Hence, I decided to leave the house as it is now. I am not going to make any further efforts to restore this house. And then there's another page, but it's blank. Why would you include a blank page? Interesting. Let me try to highlight some of these things. I'm sus of that blank page. Huh. If you didn't know, similar to how they did in Scratches, that was a little more subtle. All of these journal entries and these writings that we're finding, they are very much written in the same style and tone that all of the old H.P. Lovecraft stories are written in. There's a note written on the back of the photo that reads, Jonathan and Clark Field. Mr. Field said that he and his brother did not get along. This is the only family picture here. That's sad. Anyhow, yeah, Lovecraft stories, they're funny because people make fun of them for being formulaic, and I have to hand it to them. his stories are nothing but formulaic. It's like the same thing every 3 times. It's always some weird aloof dude, or the friend of a weird aloof dude, or a detective who's just investigating some weird shit going on. And it always begins with something crazy like, I just shot my best friend in the head 6 times. Let me tell you why I didn't kill him, though. And I quite enjoy them. I just think that they're good, spooky fun. But yeah, it's much like how Clark started his letter to his brother by saying, you're never going to hear from me again, and I'm writing you this letter because you need to know what's out there, and shit like that. Now watch and be amazed as I put off the basement even longer. An unreadable paper? What, did I write it? What does that mean, unreadable? I'm very surprised that the police weren't able to find out that Clark owned a house in secret. Some of the rooms, including this one, have only been partially restored. The furniture has been placed haphazardly. Well, I thought that the restoration came to a stop completely. Some rope. I'll take that. The objects in this game are not too hidden. I see what he was talking about in his writing about how personalized the creaks were in this house. The clock had stopped at 6:55 a.m. The man had an analog clock on his coffee table? That clock seems to still be going. It's humid in here. Wardrobe is locked. Some kind of destroyed book. What the hell happened here? Nothing particularly interesting. Okay, be that way. A key. A rusty key. It's a very old looking key. That was a small, dodgy hitbox right there. A little surprised I saw that. And here we have our first useless drawer in the game, so it's now confirmed that not all drawers have something important in them. That will be important to bear in mind going forward. This game would, like, give me a seizure if I just, like, was turning around slowly and there was someone in the room with me. I mean, they did that at the very beginning when I just looked down and there was a dead body on the floor. Ooh. This is a study. These look very threatening. Ayo, Scratches reference. There are a lot of different masks here. And I think they are African. Are we... We're not going that close to Scratches, are we? Come on. Come on, like, I love inspiration. I love inspiration from things that I enjoyed, but this guy does not have a gallery full of South African masks. What's this? The note is about a manuscript, an indication of the strange interests Mr. Field had. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Okay, well there's a weird, like, display case in the corner. And it's empty. The showcase is empty. This guy played Scratches. I wonder what strange things were displayed here. Whoever made this game 100% played Scratches, and they loved it even more than I did. And that's not a bad thing, because, like, this is just the seed of the game right here. So maybe this game begins with a lot of Scratches inspiration, and then evolves into its own thing. We have a briefcase. Is this a 2-tumbler lock? No, just one 4-digit lock. Alright. Note to self, look out for, you know, numbers. So, am I a police detective in England? And if so, do police detectives in England get to carry guns? Because I would really like to have a gun right now as I... No, do not leave the residence. I'd really like to have a gun as I go poking around this old spooky house that was owned by a man who's now dead. Especially as I progress into the basement. Oh, I wanted to take a closer look at that, actually. There is wet soil on the shovel. Shovel with wet mud on it. What a clue! It smells weird here. Could be some kind of incense. That's what he said in the note. A strong scent. I like our little LA Noir da-na-na whenever we find a clue. Stained piece of fabric. Some kind of slimy substance on it. A number of pots. They contain some substances that smell like ruined harmol. Excuse me for not being British. What is harmol? Harmol is a plant that has an entheogenic properties. It is used in some regions of the world as an air and mine purifier. That is so nice at this game to just have a built-in encyclopedia. Air and mine purifier. So it's a drug of some kind. It's skooma! Actually looks a lot like the Alto wine from Elder Scrolls again. Messy. Hey, my desk looks way worse than this. Alright, we'll approach the fucked up looking door, but luckily it's locked. What's this thing though? An electrical panel. But what am I to do with the electrical panel? Time will tell. Didn't we hear that the Loath Nolder escaped prison at the beginning of this game? He escaped the mental hospital he was in? That's a bit concerning, I will say. That's got me just the slightest bit on edge. That's the once-over of the house. We found some clues. Now tell me what you make of them. The shovel looks like it was used recently. The cellar smells strange. And harmol smells down there. Warned his brother not to call the police. Escape of Nolder. My phone had no messages. Even though Arthur said he'd called me several times, I couldn't find any messages on my answering machine. Yeah, that was kind of weird. I don't know what that's about. Oh, that's right, we found a key. So, there were a variety of locked doors in this house. Let's try the one that's been barricaded over here. Where did we find this key again? It was in a drawer? I'm hoping to find this room that had the weird well in it, or something was hidden. Okay, this door's locked. Try the key. No, the key does not seem to fit. Alright, there were other locked doors in this house. Surely it opens one of them. Oh, you know, it probably just opens the wardrobe that was in that room we found the key in. It's a pretty tiny key to open something like a serious door. Wardrobe is locked. Let's try the little key on it. No? What's with this? Oh, hold up, hold up. This weird book that I found, there's multiple pages of it. Okay. This is not the journal. This is some weird Abdul al-Hazred Necronomicon book here. Understanding the soul metamorphosis demands examination of far more complex and esoteric thought. Let's just try highlighting some passages. This kind of just looks like a Lovecraftian word soup. A series of parchments left by the ancient Egyptians called Summoning the One Who Lies Beneath. Water, barley, and herbs, drunken Eleusinian mysteries. Annual initiation ceremonies for the cult members? Weird. Weird. I'm sure there was something in there that was important, but I didn't find it. The key does not seem to fit. Okay, I'll try one more time at the little spooky door down here, but it did not seem like it was a conventional key that would unlock it. I'm starting to wonder, maybe Oh, it did unlock it. I was gonna say that maybe that key would open up a drawer in Clark's office. Oh yeah, now it's Silent Hill 2. I found the well. Somebody tell Clark S. Nova. There's a lantern. Oil lantern still seems to work. Am I gonna tie some rope around it? Am I going down the well? The rusty ladder looks flimsy. No, we're not going down the well. No shot. Some pipes. Okay, see? The game has allowed me to look real high this time. This well looks very mysterious. It's obvious that there's something in it which will help my investigation. So I'm gonna tie a rope around the pipes in the ceiling and shimmy on down myself without a weapon. That's not true. I have a letter opener. It's too dark. I can't safely get out. This will be useful. Well, fuck me. We're going into the well. We're going into the dark well in the basement of the murder house. Will I descend? Sure, I'll take the plunge. You're gonna make me do this whole thing myself. Can't climb any further. The rope is not long enough. And there's the tunnel he mentioned. It's okay, guys. I'm cool. Yeah, Cthulhu Fatagan. Yep, there's the smoke as promised. Oh. His digital recorder. Organizer. I thought that would be important. Probably belongs to Mr. Field. He must have dropped it here. Now, what was he doing down here that would... Let's leave now. I, for one, would like to exit the premises. No, don't just stand there and inhale that shit. That's probably not good for you. What was that? I don't care. We're not going to find out. I mean, we will eventually, but we're not going to find out now because we're going to leave this house alive. I'd better lock the door. Yes, you had better. What the... I'm not checking that out. I will not. What if I have to for progression? Okay, let's go back and take a quick look at the door. Maybe we can hear something. We put our ear to it. I don't want to stay here any longer. Yeah, me neither. Something is on the other side of that door we just locked. I am paralyzed with fear. I don't feel so well. I need to rest. Yeah. Let's go home. Yep. Was all that I experienced down there real? Or was I influenced by the things described in the notes, and the things I've known about the Reed since I was a child? I have a severe headache, and I need to rest. There's something in the air in Mr. Field's residence that makes me feel dizzy. Something is in the air, and it ain't love. I feel so tired. Think we'll stick around and see if we get a nightmare sequence when we come back. I'm gonna call the first episode here. Enjoying this game. Strongly enjoying this game. Oh, we have the guy's organizer to look at too. I'll wait. I'll pace myself to look at it next time. Okay. Thoughts on this game? I see that it's taken inspiration from a lot of other games I've played. And I don't think that it's necessarily done things better than Scratch's, but this game is very friendly to play. I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, and I am yet to find any sort of big stump in the progression after a good hour and a half of game time. I like that. I think that it's good possible to have difficult mystery games without them being ridiculously, like, narrow to progress. So, you got a leg up on scratches with that one, Loath Nolder. Darkness Within. The game is called Darkness Within. I'm excited to play more. I don't know how frequently episodes will go up, because I'm still going to be playing Siberia and also doing a really busy semester at school. But we will see how it goes. Thank you for tagging along for this first episode, everybody. Next time we will not have dark red amber beer.